And we're all going to have a chance to try it, but I wanted to get kind of 3 baseline, but then everybody's going to try it. And we're actually going to up the difficulty of the rider a little bit once we actually talk about some better mechanics. So mechanics meaning whose bodies are we working with in this whole mounting and dismounting scenario? Who's impacted by the mount and dismount?
The rider and horse.
And?
The instructor.
Yeah. Because you guys are going to be doing this for hopefully several years, right? Okay. If we don't do this correctly mechanically for ourselves, that could be career ending for you guys. Or then you have to learn, because if you blow a shoulder out, then, okay, well, I'm going to have to now teach someone else how to mount and dismount for me. And then there goes that piece of supporting a rider. So you guys also need to learn how to correctly support your own body. What piece of our rider's body were we not in control of enough? Yes. Pelvis and upper body. You have got to control the upper body. And if you do, if you can right the upper body and keep it centered over that horse, I mean, not that you should be having riders that are like, you need to physically understand what you can and can't dismount, especially in emergency situations. But I can easily assist dismount someone much taller and much heavier than me if I have correct mechanics. And that means my body's set up for success, their body's set up for success. My offside person is helping correctly if we have one. And what other factor works on mounts and dismounts that we can't change? What's weighing us down as we come down? We have to work with gravity, right? Or it's going to work against you where your rider's sliding off the side or off to one side and then they start slipping, right? Okay. All right. So who's going to be my victim for my mount? Okay. All right. So we will pretend like we have an offside person just so everybody can actually see, and I don't have anybody over there, okay? Where should hands be? Okay. One of them should be here. Yeah, okay. Watch my shoulder change here. What did that just set my body up to be able to do? So here, both hands here, you're going to see riders struggle to get that leg up and over, or they're going to do this because they don't have anywhere to move their hips and their legs. And especially when we get into our riders who are tighter, right? Okay, so we have this going on. Also, what did you guys not teach to?
The reins.
Yeah, even if you think your rider's never going to ride independently, I don't care. Can they learn that? Or at least even learn how to put a hand on the rein when we mount? Absolutely. Because what's going to happen if all of a sudden that rider starts progressing more than what you thought, and then now we have to add this in later after we've been riding for several months. I have to go reteach it. Teach it right from the get-go. Yes, we could approximate a skill. So that means that we try to get it close to what the actual skill is, but we change it. So instead of like worrying about shortening and all this stuff with a little bit maybe riders that have more involvement, we could just set a hand here, but then we're at least still involving the rein, and then we eventually could learn to hold it, okay? But we're not going to leave these out of the picture for adaptive. Now, like hippotherapy, that's a different story, but for this, it's going to be different, okay? Okay, so we have hand position that we talked about. We're going to involve reins. Really steady block. Your 3-step block is super steady. What is best practice for blocks when you go to mount, especially your smaller 2-step? What should you be doing? Have you ever heard of foot on block? Okay, the smaller 2-step, have you ever had it kind of wibble wobble forward? Okay, they can flip on you. This is another reason why I'm like a huge advocate of just mount from the platform, because then you don't have to deal with this. But these not so much, but especially when you get adult riders on like the smaller 2-steps, that block can flip underneath or flip sideways. So best practice is to keep a foot here, okay? Or even I'll do here as well, okay? All right, so we've got block. Do you also see how I have my block set up at an angle? What's that going to allow?
Keeps their hips squared where they need to pull their leg over so that it's not like if they don't have range of motion.
Exactly. Yeah. So we're already kind of setting the hips up for success. Hands are set up for success here, right? Okay. And then I heard one of you guys say, look over at your volunteer. That was good. So looking where they should be getting on, somewhere over there. Very nice, because that's going to help control our head and our upper body. And then when we go to get on, there's a couple different things that we can do to help support the leg. Because here, have you guys ever had them step in and then this like wobbles and they like push their body away and all of that? Yeah, so block mounts here, there's something we can do here to help support that leg up and over, okay? If we were doing a block mount and the rider was weaker with this size block, what's another thing we might want to have in mind and have there as a support for a newer rider? Yeah, to manage that leg, right? Because unless like you're pretty tall, you've got longer arms, you could probably reach, you might be able to reach, like reaching over this, I'm jammed up here. So yeah, we might need another person. Again, why I like platforms is I've got so much more room to work and I don't need as many people. We're pretending like we have our person there first to do it from both sides, right?
Leading also, correct?
And leading, yes, we should lead and work our horses from both sides. Absolutely. And also, yeah, sometimes we need to get off on the other side for the ability of our rider. And it's really fun. Swap it up on your riders and have them get off from the other side. And it's like it's a brand new skill. So we're working both sides of the brain.
It's called contextual interference.
Thank you. Contextual interference. Okay, we need to write the term down because I'm going to add that to a quiz. Thank you. I didn't have a word for that. Thank you. Contextual interference. Yes. Throw the terms at me. See, and this is even, look, I'm 15 something years in and there's still some stuff that like we're doing it, but the word for it is just not as easy. So thank you. Contextual interference. Yes. I love that.
Make sure you give credit for an OT saying that.
Absolutely. And okay, now just because I know that term, does that make me a therapist? No, it just makes me now, I have more tools in my toolbox and now I can go look up contextual interference and actually learn more about it if I wanted to, right? So then now that leads me on a rabbit hole to learn more. Okay, all right. Anyways, okay, rider. We're gonna go slow first and like talk through the pieces and then we'll actually kind of role play a little bit more involvement, okay? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna step up on to the very top step and we're gonna pause both feet up on the top step, okay? So go ahead and come on up, have hands ready. With the rushy riders, I will often say like hands first because I will have kids come up here and try to step in first. I don't know if you guys have had that. That's super unsafe. So like I will even block that leg and say, nope, hands first. Like if I've got to speed stuff up, okay? So we're gonna go hands here. Yep, so we're gonna shorten those reins. Our little horsey's very uphill here. So we're gonna bring our hand just a bit more forward. And since you're taller, I'm actually gonna have you put your hand here on this offside slightly there. And did you see how that set her shoulder up for success? Okay, honestly, with this length of rider, that step is close and her leg is pretty long. I would maybe be thinking about just like a step over at a platform. You could just step over with her. But for the sake of showing you guys this, stepping in, okay, we're gonna go ahead and put left foot in. I might need to add a touch as I say left. You guys were all super nice about your lefts and your rights. You knew them way too well. We're gonna put that foot in. Knee needs to be here. And then I'm gonna support here, okay? If she couldn't get that leg over, that's where that person's gonna be. And then what am I not controlling yet? Good, so here, I'm ready, because what's gonna happen with most of our riders? They're gonna flop down, right? So here I can be windshield wiper, and I can block it hip or block it shoulder. Okay, go ahead and up and on. Oh, and you move that hand. So next time I would have my offside, I'd tag it in my brain of I'm gonna have them do, easy there. I'm gonna have them do a hand over hand on that side to anchor that hand down so that it doesn't slide, okay? That's what I'll do with riders who constantly do like the grab the back. If they're tactily defensive, we might have to quickly put the hand forward and then do, okay, on 3, you put your hand on and I move as that other person puts a hand on and anchors the hand. You have to sometimes like be super timed because they might pull away, okay? So you do have to time it for some. Okay, I'm gonna not scrape your guys' beautiful floor. Okay, does that make sense? Do you guys see the difference on that? And then when we get off, and we can have another person try too, I want you to kind of collapse forward and we'll talk about that. Oh, what's something I actually skipped that I should have had her do that would have set her head up for success and her upper body?
Look to the right.
Yeah, I was jabbering and stuff. What's something specifically I could give her to look at over there? Yeah, the mirror, or even, that's a little low. Yeah, light's kind of tough, but yes, the light is in a perfect position, but it's hard to look at. Yeah. Good. Okay, so do we have both feet in? Yeah, we've got both feet in. Go ahead, you can hold your reins in 2 hands for a second. Okay, so we have rider here. We would center up as best as we can. I want you to scooch forward in your saddle just a bit. There we go, very nice. Okay, I would check really quick alignment. What should my horse be to? Their legs should be, which our horsey doesn't have here. Yes. So they need to be square, right? Okay, so I'm checking center is pretty good. We'd walk off. We're gonna get our rider centered enough before we move on. Then we do major tack adjustments, okay? We're not gonna do that at the platform, at a block, whatever. Get out of that space because that is the most dangerous spot, okay? Once our horse moves forward, we whoa. What am I gonna do right away?
Check the girth.
That I can't right now. So check the girth and then I'm gonna reassess rider position, right? And then yesterday I tried really hard to like use an assistant so you guys could hear and see that, but I could send an assistant to help set stirrups and stuff. As per industry standards, instructors, what is the thing we cannot hand off to somebody else to do for us?
Or just no.
Tack adjustments?
Yes. Go on. Specifically, what piece of tack adjustments?
The girth.
Yes. Okay, even those of you that mentor, even if your instructor in training checks whoever is the certified individual, you have to have hands on. That's why if I was out in the arena, like I still went behind you, but it was because I was out in the arena and checked. And that is just like getting the habit of it. But yeah, you cannot have somebody else check tack and equipment for you for the girth. You absolutely can train a volunteer to set stirrups. Do it. So like, and that makes them feel super special. Like have your stirrup master, give them a fun title or something. Teach them how to safely do it. They can set that for you. Mounting and dismount, does it have to be an instructor? Can you have trained and documented personnel? Yeah, absolutely. If you have a group lesson and you guys have some easy kids, like have someone get those off for you and you guys handle the more complicated ones, okay? Or if you guys hurt yourself or something, have a backup. I taught till I was like 8.5 months pregnant with most of mine. And so I trained a volunteer and they mounted and dismounted for me when my belly got too big. Okay, so for the dismount, so we're going to talk a little bit more involved rider. We aren't going to involve the reins yet, okay? Do you guys want to do both feet out first or foot in first?
Foot in first.
Foot in first, okay. When would we want to leave a left foot in for both English and Western? Well, Western, always please, because why?
The horse.
Yeah,
They can't lean.
You can't, yeah, and then you're getting hung up and stuff. You have to, there's a tack and equipment difference. So it is unsafe to take both feet out. And those people that say, oh yeah, I can take both feet out and swing over. Okay, fine if you want to choose to do that on your own time, but that is not safe technically. Okay, so we'll leave foot in. What students might benefit from leaving a foot in even on an English saddle or dressage saddle?
Unbalanced riders.
Yeah, maybe unbalanced riders, yep, where they really don't have a lot of that body awareness, that proprioception, limited strength, hip mobility, stiff, yeah. This is how I have to get off. I have to leave a foot in. So yes, this can actually be really good. It can also help. Again, it's because what are we doing when we put pressure in our stirrup? We're weight bearing. So it could maybe help keep those like lower tone riders from going too noodly, right? Okay, so we're gonna put reins down for this right now. I like to keep them here just in case if something happens, they are here. Also, what's gonna happen if you guys train your riders to always toss the reins forward down the road and they progress? What do you have to now untrain?
Their habits.
Yeah. Okay, reins go here. Keep them within hand's reach, okay? We never toss our reins away. That's a safety issue. So don't teach that to your rider so you don't have to fix that later on, okay? All right, so right foot out, we're leaving left foot in. Okay, so how I'm setting myself up. I'm bringing my body here, okay, because she is gonna come down kind of on my right side, okay? Her right hand is gonna go on the front of the saddle. What happens if I put both hands here? So, oh my gosh. Oh, now I see the swelling. Okay. Please tell me if there's, okay. Whack, no. Okay.
I'm good, yeah.
What's gonna happen here if we put both hands on the front?
She can't move her upper body.
Yeah, she's all jammed in, right? Okay. This is also, by the way, don't teach 2-point because same thing, you're jamming their hands in and they can't move their upper body. We don't do this with our hands, okay? So hands don't go here. How are her hips gonna have to move to get off the horse to get on this side?
Her pelvis also tilted.
Yep, it's gonna have to go this way, right? So what do her shoulders need to do?
Shoulder has to turn.
So which hand are we going to move? Yeah, see, watch that. See how that sets it up? Okay. What I see a lot is this hand doesn't come far enough forward, or like both hands are either there or both hands are here. And then the shoulders aren't allowing it then to flow down the whole body to open up those hips. Okay. Do your hug thing, hug your horse with both arms. Safety thing. Okay, I know traditional, they teach a traditional emergency dismount of grab. I'm not a fan of teaching the hug dismount because they latch on, and then also look, now she's coming off on my side, even if I tell them to look that way. And then how in the world am I supposed to keep her upper body getting centered over the horse? I would have to shove her up there, but we're setting ourselves up for her coming off on this side. Okay, so I would suggest, but you can sit back on things. I would suggest removing hug your horse from your language. Okay. And I've heard it a lot. So again, there's a lot of stuff out there of like, I can see some of the reasoning behind it of what they were trying to accomplish, but maybe there's a better way to get it because they're trying to accomplish getting that rider's body to move forward. But there's a better way usually that we can get about that, okay? All right, so I'm setting myself up here. So if we're leaving this one on, this foot in, I'm gonna kind of prime the foot by having this foot slip out just a little bit so that kick out's gonna come easy, super important, Western stirrup. I say boot to tail, you actually do have boots on. So I'll tell that rider, we're gonna take boot to tail. You guys have done really good telling them to keep a straight leg. Thank you, because what happens when we have it hooked or they bend it? Yeah, it gets stuck. Yeah, and then also, like, look at how much range of motion I have when my leg is straight. Now when I do this, look, I don't have as much, right? So again, working with the body. Okay, again, I'm gonna go windshield wipery here. So I'm windshield wiper, I can support at the hip, and then here at the shoulder, I can also support, okay? And I'm keeping her in up against this horse, okay? All right, so the boot I cannot see. We're gonna bring boot to tail, but as we do, I want you to just kind of push up out of your saddle just a little bit. Good, boot to tail. Yep. See? Yep. Okay, there. Now, see here? Look at that, we're paused. You feel good? You're not going anywhere, right? So we're here. What did I do with her upper body? I got it upright. And then here, see, I can now, okay, we're gonna slide gently down. I can even pause halfway and down. Right? Okay. So even those rushy riders, if I can just kind of get them upright, I can pause and I can slow down. Even if that foot's stuck a little, I can pause and I can even scoop that foot out if I need. Okay. Another thing I could have done, which this thing's in the way, depending on my rider, if they really kind of get tight and those legs go under the horse, I can position my leg here where they come down and they slide down my leg so that they don't loop under the horse, okay? Exactly, yeah, okay. Does someone want to do an offside you guys may not see as much, or should we just pretend that the offside is there? What do you guys want to see? Because I don't want to take away. Okay, so if that leg is having trouble coming over, we would be assuming that that offside would be helping. Okay, so keep that in mind, but I understand someone not wanting to be trapped over there and not be able to see, okay? All right, so what's a rider you have in mind and some difficulties that you encounter during the mount?
So I feel like actually a really perfect one was yesterday during Lucy's lesson. It was a little hard to see because she's so far away, but her dismount, and we'll see it in the video, she does not twist her body, and so she rolls onto me.
And then, so is there anything with the mount that is difficult with her? Does she like crunch? Does she sit hard? Anything?
She sits really hard.
Okay, cool. Okay. And that's just because, and not that I'm trying to get like a heads up or whatever, but I would know that as the instructor of like, okay, this is the actual rider. That's the tough thing about role play is I'm seeing you, but you're going to play something else. Okay. So we're going to go ahead where we always want to try to phrase things with the positive. So the actual outcome we want. So I want waiting feet on the ground, standing feet on the ground. And then you can go ahead and you can step and come all the way up to the top, both feet at the top. And then we're going to wait and I'll tell you what we're doing. Okay. A thing you can do to slow down rushy riders. I don't know if you guys heard me do it with, who's the little dude? Ellis. I had him count the steps. That's a really good way to help slow your riders down that tend to like zoom up those steps, okay? All right, so here again, what comes first, feet or hands?
Yes.
Okay, and are we placing hand on front of saddle first, or what should we be managing? Good, and what I usually teach is I'll tell them take this hand, so the hand by the tail, we're gonna take our reins, pick it up to the sky softly. Wait, just this hand, lift up. Now this hand, grab both pieces of, like you guys have color, so I'd say grab both pieces of green, and then green on mane, yep, and now this hand, let's go, perfect, and comes on the front of our saddle. There we go. I can still leave loopy if I have a horse leader here, but before I take my horse leader off for a rider learning how to mount independently, we would learn how to set appropriate rein length. So that's things we layer on, okay? All right, so now here, when we put our foot in the stirrup, this part of your body, your knee, is gonna gently push against this squishy part, and when we step on our horse, I want you to think about growing tall like a tree out of your horse's back as you get on, okay? So foot in, see how I tapped knee here, support up and over. There, okay? And your offside on the other side too could be, if they don't have to go hands on, they could be like this, like signaling up to help remind them to stay tall. They could even be ready with a hand at that shoulder to provide a little bit of like upward push. So there's lots of different stuff that you can do, okay? All right, so we would move away from our block, check tap, check centerness, all that good stuff, right? Okay, so we're gonna do one without feet in the stirrups, okay? So if I know my rider has difficulty getting legs over, what am I for sure gonna have there? On the offside. Yep. And then also some homework you could give your riders is having them like hand on the wall and learn how to move their foot over like a water bottle without knocking it over, or a turnout without horses into it. It's depending on the center you're at. You can even teach the riders to climb through fences because that teaches them to bend and lift that leg up and over. There's like the catch-22 of like teaching them which fence is safe to climb through and all of that, but like I do teach that. And it's a fun thing. It's like a special thing for them to do, but it's also like we're building situational awareness and safety assessment and risk evaluation, like all that stuff. So you don't have to, I understand bigger centers, it's hard to do stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun. And they're like, what, I gotta climb through a fence? So, but that directly ties to mounting, dismounting. Okay, so I like to teach taking feet out of stirrups first before we put our reins down, okay? So we're gonna take both feet out, good job. I'm really bad at jumping in and doing it for them. So I try to let them do it as much as possible and only help. And if I go to help, I'll be like, oh, wait, hold on, let's reset. You can do it by yourself. Like I try to catch myself on being mama hen too much. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna gently put our reins down right on the sparkly part of our pad. Good, gentle hands. Okay, so I know she's gonna have difficulty with that leg coming over. So I'm gonna come a little bit further down to be ready to grab that leg, okay? So left hand is gonna come here. I'm sorry, your right hand, the one far away from me. No, you're good, your far away hand. This one is gonna come here. This hand, close by me, is gonna come up his mane. Very good, okay, and now, as we bring boot to tail, we're gonna tip forward just a little bit. Ready? So boot to tail, you can even try to slide off the side if you want. Okay, I can even pause and down. Feel that?
Yes.
So did you see my forearm? So I pivoted that upper body and I got that leg around and then down. Okay?